Good morning, YouTube, and welcome to another Destiny Education production. I'm Twana, and today we're going to be talking about walking through the door of fear. Now, before we get started, we're taking over this morning, the Saturday morning coffee, which we haven't done these last 2 weeks. And we wanted to go ahead and start going live. I know we originally said we'll go live at 500, but we decided, you know what? Let's start going live now. We can work out all the kinks and do whatever. And so here we are. This morning's blend, of course, yet another Colombian. I know it sounds like Colombian's my favorite. However, I just have been so busy. I have not had time to buy the coffee. So I will get on that starting tomorrow. I'll make sure we have an order and send it in to our roasters. But I want to talk to you guys about fear because it is truly the most frustrating and debilitating thing one can ever walk through. It is atrocious. It's horrible. It destroys your life. It keeps you paralyzed and it doesn't allow you to move forward. And I want to tell you that I remember not that long ago sitting at my desk in my home office. Tears were just streaming down my face because I have this image in my head of where I'm supposed to be. And I'm looking around me and nothing is where it should be. And things are crumbling, they're falling apart, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. Let me tell you what happens when you're caught in fear, when you're dealing with fear. The first thing that happens is you lose the ability to be creative. Your creativity will go out the window every single time. You see, this is such an important topic to me because I know so many people who are caught here who don't understand that they're caught in this position of being frozen. They're sitting here and they're dabbling. They're doing these little itty bitty things. Oh, let me just dip my toe in the water. You see, that was me. I know what that feels like. I know what it is to go through all the different gurus, to go to these events and you're excited and you walk out of there and you're pumped up and you believe you can make it happen. And you go out there and you start making it happen and then you hit your first obstacle. And see, the problem with just rah, 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 shish, boom, ba is that it leaves you high, but it doesn't give you the tools necessary to go and accomplish it. And so I always said that when my time came, the one thing I would always do is I would go back and I would bring forward anybody who wanted to come, who was in that place, who didn't know how. Recently I was watching a short by Myron Video, and he goes, if you're asking how, you're asking the wrong question. And I'm going to tell you that I disagree with him. There is a point at which you will ask who, but you will not ask who until you first ask how. And let me explain why. Who can do this and who can do that comes when you already have the financial resources available to pick the who's. The who is the easiest question in the world. Like I've never, ever stumbled on who do I get to make this happen. I can make 5 phone calls and figure out who. But what I didn't know was how to go from nothing to something. And so, what I want you to understand and what we're talking about today is how you go from stuck into doing something. And the most frustrating thing about this is that the answer is so unbelievably simple. And it's that simplicity that makes it so frustrating. And what it is it's taking one step in one step, one step, one step until you get moving. And that's really the answer. So what does that look like? Let me explain. Let's go back to the story I was telling you before when I was sitting at my desk in tears. If someone had come along and said, okay, Twana, what business are you working on? This is what I'm doing. Insurance, whatever. Here's what I want you to know. I want you to sit down and I want you to think about who is the person that you are trying to serve. And all I had to do at that point was to go through the existing clients that I had already had and start looking at them to see the type of person I was already serving. Are you with me? For me, it would have been people who were interested in long time relationships, people I can serve for years and years and years and years to come, people whose families I can serve going on down the line. And those are the things that it would have looked like had I looked at that point in time. So, what if you don't have any customers or anything like that? You're starting a new project. Okay. Then here's what I want you to do. I want you to really think about what it is that you're doing and who are the people you are truly going to be able to help. What do they look like? Are they black? Are they white? Are they Latino or Asian or Indian? Or what group, what people group do they belong to? Are they professionals? Are they homeless? Are they kids? Are they adults? Are they young adults? Are they college students? Who is it that you're trying to help? Is it little children? Is it parents? Once you figure out what that group is, now I want you to go and say, okay, what is the big problem? You see, one of the things that keeps us stuck in fear is when we are so focused on ourselves that we're not thinking about anybody else. You have to understand that in this world, we were not designed to focus on ourselves. And it's very hard because the things of God are always going to be confusing to people of the world. They're never, ever going to make any sense. And let me explain to you why. Because it's always the opposite in God's world. So the way things work in the spirit versus the way things work in the physical are not the same. We have been taught that we need to think about ourselves first. When we think about ourselves first, we destroy everything around us. Everything. We are not designed to be selfish. And for some reason, the onset of social media has brought about the absolute worst nature in people. And the number one focus for them is me. Me, me, me. What can I get? How can I? What can I? I. That's not the way our world works. You see, the more you focus on you, the more you're going to lose. And it's funny because people will often say, well, there's a lot of people who focus on on themselves and they make tons of money. Yes, they make tons of money one time, but nobody likes them and nobody respects them. They're not people who are someone that you want to draw to over and over and over and over again. You want a lasting legacy. And to do that, your number one focus has to be outside of you. And here's the hard thing: the more you focus on everybody else, the better things get for you. The less you deal with depression, the less you deal with hardship and hurt, the more fun you begin to have, the more you look forward to getting up in the morning. It's no longer drudgery as you sit there and are trying to figure out how to get through your morning, your day. You know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, they just kind of fade into each other. You often know what your favorite day of the week is. For me, it's Friday because Friday is always party day, right? And even though I don't party anymore, I have my YouTube playlist that I put on Fridays and I start dancing through the office or dancing around the house because that's what I do Fridays. It's just I've never outgrown that, right? So you begin to come alive. You begin to believe on levels you've never believed, and you begin to know in ways that you've never known. And these are the things that happen every single time you allow yourself to start growing. You allow yourself to start focusing on other people. You allow yourself to be okay with stepping out of the fear. You can walk through the door at any point in time. And I'm going to drive this point home to you because I really want you to understand this. Fear is a jail cell with an open door and shackles that are unlocked. And the only person who is keeping you in fear is you. When you start taking steps, go find people who can help bring you out of those. For many of you, I pray that as you listen to these videos more and more and more, you get the step by step instruction of how do I do this? How do I walk forward? Okay, Twana, I just got out of a divorce. How do I move forward? Okay, tell you how to do this. First thing you do is pull together all the debt because whenever you go through a divorce, there's always debt. Pull together all the debt, put it into a spreadsheet, figure out who everybody is that you owe. Look at your income. The income 99, if you're watching this and you're here, your income is less than that debt you owe. Now, here's the thing. The thing I didn't know back then that I know today is this. I would not make the debt my priority. What I would make my priority is figuring out what my oil is. And I want you to remember that the oil you have, the oil is where you pull your resources from. You open things up and you figure out, okay, what talents do I have? What skills do I have? What abilities do I have? What are things that I may be good at, but I'm not giving myself credit for being good at? And that's what you focus on. I want you to focus on how to move into that oil because that's where your difference is going to be. That's how you're going to take this to the next level. And then I want you and your kids, or if it's just you by yourself, to start focusing on that oil. So during the times that you're not at work, you are going to become hyper obsessed with this. Hyper obsessed. All you're going to do is focus on this, get it done, get it done, get it done, but you're going to have to work fast. You see, the problem is that, and I want to tell you because there was a time when I was married, and the man that I was married to was one of those guys who was all about, I put in X number of hours a day and then that's it. He never understood the value of quick speed, right? And moving quickly, getting things done. And it was funny because one of the things that he would always do is he would look at a situation and come up with all these reasons that it was somebody else's fault that he wasn't doing what he needed to do. And so, anytime you're dealing with somebody who comes up with a reason, it's always somebody else's fault. That's somebody who's there to cut you off at the knees. And I need you to understand that because that language is there to stop you, it's not there to elevate you. And when you get that in your head, when you get that understanding, what you start doing is you start turning off your ears to anybody who speaks that language. Let me give you another example. Recently, a client of mine sent someone to a sample of something to someone that she had worked with in the past, and they still have some semblance of a relationship, not anything romantic, as I always say, but just some camaraderie. Okay. And his feedback was really negative. And so instead of looking at what had been created and walking through the process, he got to the first and said, I'm done. I don't want to be bothered. So what ended up happening is it altered their relationship because now when she looked at him, she realized that he was no longer someone that she could utilize in that way in her system. Does that make sense? These are the things you're going to have to do right out the door. Right out the door. Who is it that you can count on? Who is it you can't count on? And these are the things that I want you to be aware of, is that there are some people you can take with you on this journey, but there are a lot of people that you can't. Excuse me. And when you get to that place that you begin to realize that there are just some people you can't go with, you begin to allow yourself to open. And the last thing I want to give you on this topic is this: the Dead Sea, which is in Israel, is the Dead Sea because no life can be sustained within the sea. There are inlets that allow water into the Dead Sea, but there are no outlets that take water out of the Dead Sea. Anything that goes there to die. As you're walking on this journey, here's the thing I want you to always remember. When people come with their negativity, they are the Dead Sea. There's no outlet there. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what level of funding they have. It doesn't matter what level of anything you think they have. Here's the big lie that so many of us live in. We think because people have money that they know better than they actually do. There's this great song. It's called If I Were a Rich Man, Fiddler on the Roof. And in it, Topol says, when you're rich, they think you really know. That's why you see all these interviews with celebrities. And I'm like, dude, you're interviewing a 21-year-old for life advice? She's 21. She's been out of diapers 12 years. Are you serious right now? We go to these people because they must know something that we don't know. They're babies. They don't know anything. Our job is to raise them up so that they know where to go. Taylor Swift did an interview where she said, I don't believe that you have to forgive people. Well, one day Taylor Swift is going to find out exactly how bound up she is. And what that means is that she's going to be in a position where the pain is going to become so great that she has to take a step back from singing because she can't work within that pain anymore. That's what happens. It's the Dead Sea. When you are not capable of forgiving, you create the Dead Sea in your life. And so not before, but while you're trying to get out of fear, while you're trying to walk out of fear, it becomes this stream of forgiveness where you just allow that forgiveness to pass through you. The incidents that happened, you let them go. You allow them to pass on to the next place that those types of things go, and you allow yourself to heal. That is the number one thing, because if you're holding on to unforgiveness, you're holding on to those voices in your head, and those voices in your head are actually undercutting everything that you're attempting to do. And so you don't want to allow that to happen. You want to be free. And becoming free happens through forgiveness. So that's your number one pot of oil. Forgive everyone. Because we were talking about you've gotten divorced, right? Your number one pot of oil is to forgive. I don't care what he or she did. Do not waste your time being angry, being just frustrated, hurt. It's going to be hard, but you have to change your focus. God, I'm going to give that to you. And you're going to focus on this. And as you're moving forward, there are going to be days when your mind will say, if I hadn't done this, I would have been able to do that. You don't have time for that. That's not what this is about. This is about, okay, here's the debt, here's my income, here's my oil. How can I utilize my oil to increase my income to pay off this debt? Now, you want to know what the greatest revenge is? Taking that oil, turning it into something valuable, paying off the debt in 6 months or less. While the other party thinks they got you, now they're looking back and going, what did I do? Like, you could have done that without me all along? Yeah, I could have. Thanks for making sure I knew that. That's your best revenge. It's being successful. and free, because you can't be successful without being free. You can have money and not be free because there are other areas that people struggle with. But for most of you, money is spiritual. If you aren't working on forgiveness, you're not opening the doors up for that wealth. You with me? So here's what I want to help with. Last and final. I'm getting a divorce. That was the question. What do I do? You build up your oil. Figure it out. What do you do? Start selling, start moving. Find ways that you can make money. Not through Amazon distribution, not through Spotify, unless the internet is your thing and you already have a key to it. I mean, look at what you do. Do you bake? Do you sew? Do you fix things, build things? What do you do? Put yourself on Instagram, go live with it every day and build your audience. Come here on YouTube and do a video of what your process is from beginning to end. It's going to take some time, but they will begin to build. And then you will start pulling more and more people, especially if it's something you do with your hands. People will be really interested and they'll keep coming back over and over again. They'll bring their friends. Look at how cool this is. Look at this. Look at that. And that's what they do. Instagram is your friend for that. YouTube is your friend for that. I've not found Facebook to be any friend of anything. I don't know. Facebook is weird. Like, I don't really care for Facebook, but that's my personal opinion. That's not rooted in anything solid. It just, I don't understand it. And it's there. I can't find any logic within Facebook. So Facebook really doesn't work for me. But I want you to go and find that oil. Get yourself out there so that you understand how interested people are in you, because one of the things you're going to struggle with is insecurity. And that insecurity is going to tell you, I'm not good enough. But I'm here to always be that voice of reason and to remind you that you are good enough. It doesn't matter what you've done, how you've done it, to whom you've done it. None of that matters. We've all been someplace where we've done things that we're not proud of, that you can't get to any stage in life that you do something that you don't have a moment in life where you do something that you're not proud of. These are things that happen, but that doesn't make you less than anything. You have got to be okay with you. And you've got to be willing to talk yourself through it. Build up your oil, sell your oil. It will be a success. All work works. It is either going to work on you or it's going to work for you. If it's a talent you already have, utilize that talent and make it happen. That's what I want you to understand. Utilize that talent. You can do it. So, you build up your oil, you add it to your income, you pay off the debt. Now you're debt free. And it didn't have to come out of your income. You never lost anything. So, to get to the point of being successful, you only gained. And that's the thing that I really want you to understand about this. This is how you walk through fear. Fear starts to dissipate the more you see yourself as successful, the more you see things happening in your life. That is when fear gets to the place that it wants to stop. Other than that, we're kind of walking on unstable footing. We're like looking for places that we can put our hands so that we can be okay. You have to see yourself being successful. And I just want to remind you that there's a million things you've been successful at already. It goes back to the basics. You graduated elementary, you graduated junior high, high school, or you got your GED. If that's something you don't feel you were success at, then go get your GED. It's not complicated to do. It's very easy to do. You learn a little bit of information. You write a 5-paragraph essay. So your intro, 3 bodies, and a conclusion. And next thing you know, you've passed the GED test. Done. It really is that simple. You have successes. You had children. You have, and if you feel like you're not a success with your children, you brought them into the world. That by itself is a success. There are a lot of people who have miscarriages or all sorts of things. Your child is alive. You've done it. That's a success. And so, learning how to see yourself as successful, learning how to change the narrative in your mind is pivotal, and it's key to being able to get to the place that you're really, really working to go. So, you got a divorce, use the oil that you have to produce the money necessary to pay off that debt. Keep your income for you. Now that same money after that debt is paid off can continue to increase and elevate your life and just continue building that business, that project, that whatever until it reaches a place that you can do whatever you want to do. The way that we walk out of fear is to keep taking steps, one foot in front of the other, to get out of it. I hope that you had a great day. I, of course, did not get to finish my coffee during this one, but I'm glad that we got to talk. And I really pray that you will allow yourself to be free, to not feel bound by this fear anymore, to continue moving forward into your calling and to understand that God doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't make trash. He does not make junk. When I tell you you're a one of a kind original, you truly are a one of a kind original, and there's no other like you. Of course, there are going to be people who don't like you. Of course, there's going to be challenges, but none of that stuff matters because you have to get through the garbage to get to the place, to get to the glory. And that's what I want you to always remember. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next week.